Got it.
So, everyone, I wanted to introduce you to my buddy Gabe. This is Gabriel, and we're on the Scott of it all. And we're going to do a virtual porch chat. Gabe doesn't live in Atlanta, so we can't be on my porch or his porch. So, we're going to
Man,
chat
I like that, a porch
over,
chat. Wow.
over Zoom. I met Gabe, I don't remember what year it was. I know I met Gabe through Joy. I want to say it
I
was
think
like
15.
2012. Oh, it was later than that? It was,
I think 15 because I had a
oh,
surgery around 12.
okay.
Yeah, somewhere around that. Yeah.
Okay. Um,
Was it?
so
Wait, I don't know. You might be right. I gotta go back and check the time.
been a long time.
You know what? It might be 12. That's right. Okay.
um, and then we just kind of hit it off, and like we just started hanging out, and we just became friends, and we've always stayed in contact. Like he came with me on my 50th birthday trip to Cartagena.
Caught a hand. Man.
Um, we had a really good time. Gabe was mostly diving and doing his own thing, but he came to dinner with us. But that
Yeah.
was um, so I want to talk. The reason I wanted to sit down with you because I love your story, and you know that because I we've talked a lot about your story, and I think it's a great story. And one of the things I love about Gabe is a go-getter. Like you are not a person that just kind of dwells in whatever's going on with you. You still get up
Oh
and
yeah.
you are like participating in your life. Like and
Definitely.
you're
Oh yeah.
curious about the thing that I think why we connected is because I have a curious nature and you have a curious nature. Like you are interested in all things and
Yes.
all topics, and
Hmm.
you want to feed your brain, and I'm like that. But not
Definitely.
only you're more so, I think you're a little bit more advanced than me because you want to know about it and then you want to go do it. And I want
Yeah.
to know about it, but I'm not going diving. I'm not getting down there with sharks. I'm not doing none
I
of
do jump in head
that.
first. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like I want to absorb. Yeah, I got you.
Um, so I want to talk about like Gabe. If you haven't noticed, Gabe does not have his right arm.
Hmm. Yeah,
And when
yeah,
I
yeah.
met
There we go.
Gabe, he had his right arm, but it had atrophy, so he did not have any use
It was
of
pretty much paralyzed. Yeah.
yeah. And um and then he made the decision to have it amputated. And I want you to tell your story. Like you can start with the accident if you want, or
Okay.
you go start wherever you want to start.
It's best that you tell me where to start because you just never know when to start. This story it has so many
All right,
starts
well
and so begins. There
let's
is no
start with
end.
the motorcycle accident.
Okay. All right. Um, April 1st, 2008. So just about 15 years ago. I was just leaving Bible study one night because this was back. I was in the military at the time. I just come back from deployment. I was in the Navy. Um, I just spent 6 months overseas. Came back and had a bike. I've been riding. It was I think a Friday evening. I just left Bible study, coming down the street on a regular night like I do many other nights, and I remember waking up in the hospital. And what I was told was I had been involved in a motorcycle accident. Someone had made a U-turn in front of me. They didn't see me, and I had collided with them and woke up 3 weeks later. And they had put me in an induced coma, but I had broke C2 to C7, my neck, six ribs on the right side, collarbone, scapula, both lungs had collapsed and were severely bruised. By the time I made it to the hospital, they pronounced me dead on the scene. I remember the doctor said she had worked on me 12 hours straight, trying to keep me alive, and my heart stopped a couple of times. And like they had never seen so much bruise into somebody's lungs, and then I had a right brachial plexus injury, which paralyzed my right arm. And so I remember when I woke up in the hospital, like they was telling me all these different things. I was trached, and they had me in the C collar and all this stuff. And I was like, "Well, I was alive." So that from me being that person of being active in the military, doing deployments and staying busy all the time. Now you got me pinned to a hospital bed, telling me that I probably won't walk again, and I can't use my arm. And I had my ex girlfriend at the time was pregnant with my daughter at the time. So my daughter, she was 4 months pregnant with my daughter. So I had all these things coming up, and it was like, oh, what's next? I
What's
had
next?
no idea what's going on in life and all that. But yeah, since then, quite a bit has changed. um, Life has
So
gone many
you
ways.
made you had your arm was paralyzed, and you
Yes, indeed.
kept it in like a
A
sling. And
sling sometimes.
but I remember being with you a lot, and you would have these ghost pains where it still felt like your arm, you had the use of your arm, and you would say that the
Hmm.
pain was shooting through your arm. And so I think when we talked about it, you said that you made the decision to have it amputated, right? Because of the ghost
So
pain?
no, well, the pains is something. So from the nerve damage that I had, that's what's called what they call like the phantom pains, where
Yeah,
I still feel the pain. But I knew the years I still kept it, whatever. I still had the arm on, or I still kept the arm even though it was paralyzed. But I was trying different therapies, trying different doctors, other procedures, see not just if I could get used back to it, but the chronic pain was the worst part of it.
right,
But I had talked to surgeons previously, and they had already told me though you can cut it off and it's still gonna feel the pain because it's
right.
coming from the spinal cord injury. So I
But it
knew the
also was
amputation.
like it was you were carrying around basically dead weight though too, right?
Yeah,
Like
oh yeah. You had to carry it all around, keep it in a sling. Everything that I do, I had to watch for the arm when I'm sleeping and stuff because it was completely numb. But I
right,
still feel the it's just like lightning bolts shooting through it, and like somebody the pressure and like pins and needles feelings and all that numbness. But
right.
even what caused me to actually get it amputated was I went snowboarding like 10 years later, or like 12, well, 2 years ago, I guess what it's saying, or 2 or 3 years ago, and I had failed and shattered the humerus on the paralyzed arm,
You
and
never
that's when the
told
day
me
was.
that.
Well, I mean, the year before that, I went snowboarding and failed and broke the wrist on the paralyzed arm, and then
Oh my
drove
God,
to
I don't
archery.
think you ever told me that.
I
Wait,
hadn't
so
stopped.
that
I hadn't set
happened
still.
when you came and we went out to dinner in Key West, that
Uh
you
huh.
had that happened by then, right?
So my arm was in a cast, I think, probably then, right? I probably had
Oh, that's
because I still
right.
had
It
the.
was. I do
Yeah,
remember
so
that. It wasn't a
yes,
cat.
I had just came from my first snowboarding event in I think Colorado or somewhere with another veteran organization, and that I had fell on. I didn't know it was broken. I just knew I fell on it at the time, and it was swollen. It was
Yeah.
always in pain, so I couldn't tell. And but from Colorado, I drove to Las Vegas to do my first major archery tournament at the Las Vegas shoot, and then from Las Vegas, I drove back to Florida. Then went and checked got to the doctors, and it's like, oh yeah, they did X-ray saying my wrist was broken. But they said they was gonna put a cast on it. I said, well, you can't put a cast on it because I got to go scuba diving that weekend, and I couldn't have a cast. It was wet, so they ended up putting a waterproof cast on it. They let me go diving.
Uh,
That's why I ended up going down to the Keys and meeting y'all at
yeah.
that weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the first year of me snowboarding and all that after the effects. But I went back the next year to a different group, and then I fell on the last day and shattered the humerus. And that's when I got home, they was like, "Yeah, you ready to cut it off?" Because it was in the way by then. By then, I was pretty active. I was playing pickleball. I was scuba diving. Like when I was going diving, you got to watch the arm and make sure when I'm not going swimming
Yeah.
through wrecks and stuff. So
Yeah.
it really in the way. When I was cooking, I had burned the hand, 3rd-degree burns once because I had the hand on the pot and didn't know I couldn't feel the lid.
Noted.
It was hot. So,
Yeah.
it become in the way. After, say, from carrying the paralyzed arm for about 12 years or so, you knew it wasn't coming back. You knew I had talked to all the doctors. I had already gone through all the surgeries and stuff. I had done everything. So they knew there was no miracles about to happen, that it was going to come back and I could start using it again. And
Right.
so after I injured it a couple of times, it was like, okay. And I had talked to doctors during that time too that asked about amputation. But all the ones that I talked to before was like, oh, they either try to send me to psych ward thinking I was trying to harm myself, or asking me like, that's really. And then they say, no, you can't do it because it's going to imbalance you and there's too much risk of infection. It wasn't until I met a retired Army doctor, a surgeon. He was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. I understand. We had one talk. He was like, yeah, let's do it. And he's the
Wow.
guy, Dr. Berry here in Jacksonville, JOI. He's the one that did it. And
Wow.
I was amazed. Well, yeah, it was complete life change. And like, I wish now that I would have done it sooner, just for the fact, because it didn't take away none of the pain. I knew going into it, it
Right.
was going to change. I
Yeah.
still feel the pain. Like even after surgery, like I can still feel the weight of the arm. Like sometimes now I still feel the weight, like it's there, but I know it's not
Yeah.
there. And I still
But
feel
did
the
it lessen
sensitivity.
the pain any like so over the
No,
years it's still
no,
oh wow.
yeah,
Okay.
it's still like when it rains now and weather changes, it still flares up even more. Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
why you see me staying active, like playing pickleball some more.
I see
It's
you
that
getting
just
the hell out of there when it's cold too.
when it's cold or when it's that's why I left Atlanta. People was like, why? I, once that cold, I started seeing how the cold affected me, and it was a
Yeah.
drop. This wet, this humid cold versus the dry cold. I learned that
Yeah.
too. Makes a
Yeah.
big difference. But yeah, it changed the pain, changed the attitude, the appetite, the whole. I don't show up as much when you suffering that much and it's on the floor screaming all day.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I can always
mm-hmm.
tell when you're in pain because you get real quiet. Like you kind of
You're
go
looking for the
within.
accept, you're trying to hold everything in, trying to still smile on the outside for everybody else, and still trying to
Yeah.
show up. But then sometimes it's like, no, uh-uh.
So how did you get I know that you did some work with the Wounded Warrior Project. How did you get involved with that?
So Wounded Warrior Project is one of a couple of veteran service organizations, a nonprofit that I've been fortunate enough to benefit from, and they help support a lot of wounded veterans like myself. Me being a post 9/11 veteran means that I've served after 9/11, all that stuff. That's their genre of veterans that they do a lot of help support for. And because of some of the injuries that I had from having traumatic brain injuries, spinal cord injuries, and now having amputation, it just puts me in certain categories that they do a lot for. Even though they do a lot, because not all wounds are visual, so they do a lot for people with just mental issues and other disabilities too. But they just started helping me when I moved back to Florida from Georgia. When I was close to the area, they started offering me like local adaptive sports opportunities, really, just showing me the ways to just get out the house for myself and see what they can do for me. And that's what started my journey between these adaptive sports and reaching out to like the VA and going to like their summer sports clinics, which was
Oh,
for
okay.
veterans with specific injuries. And that's where I like picked up archery. And somebody show me, well, okay, you can do this, even though you don't have an arm, it's still possible. Like my first day seeing them shoot archery was like, I'm watching all these guys on the archery lane and stuff. And shit. I'm like, okay, it's cool, but I couldn't do it. I'm like, yeah. And one of the coaches heard me say that, and he reached in his pocket and pulled like this string out and tied it around the bow and the bowstring and said, "Here, bite down on this and pull." And that was before COVID, so I had no problem. I put my mouth on the thing and bit it and pulled it out. And when that arrow first released off the bow and hit the paper, it was like lights went off. It was like, okay, this is something I can do. First of all, but then it was challenging. I like it. Nothing to this is simple to do it. I could do it. And then we were at the Olympic training facility in Chula Vista. So they'll tell us like, yeah, you can get a grant and stuff like that if you make the team and do all the stuff, go to Olympics and all. So it was something very inspiring. It's like, okay, this is something I can actually do, help make some money for my family, provide for myself versus just
Yeah,
being a disabled veteran on disability.
right. So and then you went on the the big game show
Oh
on
yeah. Oh, so
TBS
I
doing
went crazy with archery. Yeah.
archery.
Yeah, I took off from those like a better introduction to the sports events. Like when I say like it set off light bulbs of things I do, I went home, bought my own first bow. I started shooting and spending hours and hours and hours training, trying to get better and better at this so I can do something with it. And along that journey, someone saw me on social media, I believe, and I think I had a PR person at the time too. And I got invited to come out to a TV show called The Go Big Show. And
Oh, the
anyone who was
Go
new and
Big
never heard
Show.
of it,
I thought it was called
yeah,
the Big Game Show. Why did I think
yeah,
that?
same
Sorry,
thing. The Go Big Show,
the
season
Go
one.
Big Show.
I think HBO or something had it. Yeah, and they invited me out to come do my act. And at the time, they was like, "Yeah, so we heard, seen videos of you doing stuff." I was like, "Yeah, I can shoot a bow." There's not much. I don't dance and do tricks and upside down with it, but I can do this. And it's just the way I do it was different. So I got to go on the Go Big Show and had some fun there. That was a good experience and went to another show too in Rome called I can't pronounce the name of it, but it's on YouTube.
Oh
It's
wow,
one of their versions of the Go Big Show. Yeah,
I didn't know that. And then this summer you're doing what?
this
Is it
summer.
this summer? No, the Invictus game.
What's that? Oh no, so no, so the last year
Oh,
was the
last
Invictus.
year was the Invictus game.
The 2019 Invictus Games happened in 2020 because of COVID.
Oh,
But there's
right.
another one. Yeah, there's another one. The next one's coming up, 2023. Yeah, that's going to be in
This
Dusseldorf,
summer.
Germany. Yes.
So
Uh-huh.
okay,
Yeah,
and you're
that's right. Yeah, we're in
this summer.
Tennessee.
So
Yeah.
and you're participating, right?
No.
Oh, you're not.
So I didn't make the team this year.
Oh, okay.
I'm participating in other ways. I'm quote unquote not supposed to talk about.
Okay.
Others will be seeing it. It will be seen within a few months. I personally don't know the dates. So I can't tell you dates, but
Okay. All
there
right.
is something else involved in it that you will be seeing from me. Everyone will have a chance to see some more of me and hear a lot more about me from that. Yes.
Okay, because I remember like you were supposed to participate in the Invictus Games, but
In
COVID.
2019. Right,
Oh,
and they called
okay,
they and I think that's what happened. So you're allowed to do it for 2 years, and so since we didn't do it in 19, they held it off, and we did it in 2020, and
okay,
because you're supposed to do it every 2 years, and
okay.
so since I think now since they put that block in for 2 years, since we held up that time, I guess just to make it for other people that still have their chance to go participate in it instead of keeping that same team for 2 years and then do it again. So that's why I'm assuming I didn't make the team this year.
And so for people that don't know what the Invictus Games are,
Oh
I
man.
Prince Harry started the Invictus Games, and it's
Mm-hmm.
for all kinds of athletes that have any kind of injury. Is that an act?
Wounded, ill, or injured veterans from
Oh, and they
multiple
have
different
to be
countries.
from all
Yeah,
different
so
countries.
the Invictus is just veterans game. So
Oh, okay,
it was founded from so here in America we have the DoD Warrior Games. It is the same version. It's just a Paralympic style event where veterans from all our branches come together and compete each other. Well, not veterans in active duty that are injured, ill, or wounded, and it's really a way to keep boost morale and encourage active duty service members and injured veterans to use sport as a way of health and healing and through your
yeah,
process, recovery, should I say.
yeah,
And so the DoD started this called the Warrior Games many years ago. Then Prince Harry came in on one of his tours and saw it and adapted it to the Invictus Games. And now it takes multiple countries from around the world now. We compete, and it's a phenomenal event. Like it's healing in a way, in a sense, for those that have, even for those that are not veterans, for anyone that have been injured or ill or wounded, for you to see this group of people that come together and compete and use sport as a way of healing and a therapy and just to show that you're still alive and things that you can still do. It's
right,
very motivating. It's
yeah,
exciting too.
yeah. Honestly, I mean, honestly, like I one of the reasons that I gravitate to you is because you inspire me, and like people that know me or know my story about dealing with depression and all that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like you kind of teach me that I don't have to dwell in the darkness. I can just get up and and it teaches me to be grateful for all the things that I do have and the capabilities that I have, and not to just
I
sit.
tell people all the time that life is for the living. And as long as I keep waking up, I'm still alive and I'm here. We got to
Yeah.
keep living. There's purpose behind that. And
And you
don't get
also
me wrong,
tell people
there
something else. What do you also say all the
what a
time?
kuna matata. That's my brand. I'm trying to brand that. I live by that. No worries.
I think
I
Disney
mean
might
that to
have
the.
you on the
They
brand
don't
because
have it. They don't own it. They own the word, but they don't own the. So I'm working on that. Yeah, they got the word, but yeah, it's meaningful to me because it means like to me it's more than just not. Oh, I ain't worried about nothing. It's just I take this wholehearted belief that everything that I'm going through is preparing me for what I'm going to go through next. And so
yeah,
anything that I'm going through now, I'm already have the tools for. So I don't need to worry. I just need to stop focusing, pay attention to what's going on around me, and just go through it because it's
yeah,
just part of life. It's part of growth. And as long as I'm here, I'm keep doing
yeah.
it.
And I think I unknowingly um have that too. Like, because people say to me, like even when I remember years ago, there was a period of my life where I didn't have a job and I was
Mm-hmm.
out and about somewhere, and somebody said, "Well, you sure can't tell you don't have a job." And I was like, "Well, what am I supposed to look like? Am I supposed to look broke down and destitute? Like,
It's a gift and a curse
like,
sometimes because
I mean,
I
I still
completely
don't be me."
understand. I don't believe in just because if I'm going through something, it's not supposed to be everybody's problem.
That's
I don't
right.
need to I need to carry myself, let you know that oh I'm going like I talk about my injuries. I talk about this when somebody asks, but it's like to me sometimes I'm like I get tired. I don't go around talking about it. If somebody
Right.
asks me, I'll share it with you. But then
Sure.
there's a time most time people tell me they didn't even know something was wrong with me. They
Right.
see you
Yeah.
doing so
Yeah.
much, you had no idea. But when
Yeah.
I'm going to like the VA or to my doctors trying to explain to them that I'm constantly in pain, that those days I can't even get up, and they're like, "Well, you don't look like it. You look perfectly fine."
Yeah.
And
Right.
so then, how do you, unless you have witnesses around you that have actually seen me and stuff like that, nobody vouches. They don't see it. It's people see the one now. They'll see the one arm gone, and
Right.
they'll think, "Okay, yeah, he just got one arm." But the
Right.
pain is something that you don't really see, you don't really get, and only those that really go through pain or live through pain have that pain language and are able to see somebody else that's in the pain.
Yeah.
and you interpret. You take that time to step back and look for somebody for what's really going on versus just overseeing seeing the superficial stuff that's on the outside. Yeah,
I've said recently, like, I think that pain is the one thing that connects everybody because not everybody gets to experience love, but
definitely,
everybody
De-
experiences pain.
definitely,
Everyone,
definitely.
in some degree, like you experience
Hmm.
pain, either physical pain,
Pain is
emotional
pain.
pain.
Hmm.
Like everybody goes through pain. Not everybody gets to feel love,
Mm-mm.
but
That's one thing I
everybody.
loved about the Invictus Games because all these countries come together. They speak all these multiple languages, and most of us don't share the same languages. Even if they speak English, they have to like the my friends from Ukraine that I was with. They just I talk so fast, and it's hard for them to understand what I'm saying. So it's just like slow down. But even if you don't speak the same language, everybody saw pain. Everybody spoke that pain language.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
we're together, you understand when something goes. You understand what they're going through, how they do it.
yeah,
I shared a story called my snowflake story as well. It's like when I talk to people that are when you're first injured or when you're first ill, you're first diagnosed with something, like you feel like you're this brittle snowflake that nobody understands. You don't want to touch. You stay to yourself because you're so soft and you can't. Nobody gets it, and you
right,
need to be protected. But
yeah,
then when you come to an event like the Warrior Games or something, you come for an event around other people that like it, you realize that you are a snowflake, but you're in a blizzard full of other snowflakes
yeah,
and they all get this. But when your blizzard comes, you become very powerful. All the stuff that you were weak and brittle about, but now you come together and y'all we can move stuff. We get stuff done. We lean on each other. It makes something wonderful happen, and I love that about stuff like that.
I love that story. That's actually, yeah,
Uh,
that's amazing. That
mm-hmm,
actually makes me want to like, because I don't know if you remember, but when you told us about the Invictus Games, we all talked
mm-hmm.
about coming, but then
Yep.
I don't think we ever heard anything because
Everything changed.
yeah,
COVID was
everything,
it
yep,
was a mess. It
yeah,
was a mess, but it was. And then it was very limited on how like they did the families and stuff like that. Who was when it finally came out, and it was right at the end of COVID. Even though we had to go through all everybody get tested and all that stuff there, but it turns out if you ever have a chance to go to experience an event like that, I wish everybody could go to because it's life changing stuff. It puts a respect for people to see others that sometimes can't walk are now giving
yeah,
their all put to do this to swim. People with nothing they're using everything just to show up, and it's not just for the people that they're not doing it for the lights and the glamour. They're doing it for
right,
themselves.
yeah,
And they're doing it just to see their family see that I'm still somebody. I'm still useful,
yeah,
and yeah, it's wonderful. But and the
yeah,
stuff like that was keeps me going, doing what I do now. Like it's when I'm traveling, doing other sports, or when I'm teaching pickleball, like I'm always seeing somebody else that's like, man, just you inspired me that from the time I thought I could do nothing, or the time there was nothing I could do. I see you out here just, and I'm just like, I'm just like you. I'm a human being just like you. Just I'm going through the same stuff, so I get it. I understand it. But
yeah,
that's not my excuse. I find joy in this, and I make sure I don't let nobody. I find something that I enjoy, and nobody's gonna take that from me.
right.
I hold that, and I make sure I keep doing it, whatever I got to do.
I can tell, I don't know if other people can tell, but I can
Mm-hmm.
tell just because I know you that you're very
Yeah.
passionate about it. And like
Oh yeah.
just
Mm-hmm.
listening to you talk about it, I can tell that you're very passionate about it. And I love that.
It comes out. It's one of those little things I can't hide. That type. Yeah.
So I knew like you were on the like at the very beginning of this pickleball thing because I remember we were talking one day and you were like, I'm playing pickleball. I was like, what? What is that?
Yeah.
So and I had to Google it, and you were like, it's like the hottest thing is taking over. And I was like, okay. He's like, you should get out there and try. I was like, I'm not gonna get here and try. And so now,
You'd be
like,
surprised how often I hear that. Uh-huh.
they have pickleball courts like at Grant Park. They're everywhere,
Yep.
like all over the place. And I'm like,
I
okay,
was when I first told you about it, I was probably playing in somebody's church with a bunch of old people that nobody
yes, you were.
that's it wasn't hot. Nobody knew. Everybody was like, what the heck, pickleball? What is that? Now everybody's like, oh, I get calls now. Wait, I see this TV show about pickle. Are you gonna be on that? Are you? I'm like, I said, no, they skipped over me for that one. Yeah, I was playing before it was cool and all that stuff, and doing a whole lot more with it. Like it's very enjoyable because it's very social. It's something that you get with everybody, and anybody can play it from 8 years old or younger to 85 years old. And I tell people that all the time because my first time playing, I had my butt handed to me by an 85-year-old man who stood in
Oh,
one
wow.
spot and laughed while I was running all over the court trying to get this ball. Like
But so it looks just like a smaller tennis court. Is
it
it
is. It
okay?
is. It's at the size
And
of a
you
badminton
play
court.
doubles or singles or
You
both?
can do both. You
Oh,
can do
okay.
both. hmm
All right. I don't
And
know the rules or
it
anything.
looks like it's dull and boring. If you just watch it, it looks like, oh, this is simple, huh? Like I just had a clinic today. Just spent 4 hours outside teaching a bunch of first timers, and just from the simple move, the dinking move, where it's a softball right over there to your opponent, they're like, wow, this is not easy. This is it gets challenging because it's a finesse game more than a power game. And as
Oh,
people come thinking they come playing tennis and just want to sit back and smash the ball, that's
yeah.
not the game. And like it's a smaller court, the ball will go out. Then you're using a wiffle ball, so that ball is lighter. It
Oh,
bounces
it's
different.
a wiffle ball. I didn't realize that.
Oh,
I thought it was
it's
a
like a
tennis
wiffle
ball.
ball. Oh
Okay.
no, not a tennis ball. It's a whole different bounce. And
So
your
you're playing
paddle,
with a
not a
special
racket.
racket too.
It's a paddle, not a racket.
Oh, it's a
Yep, it's
paddle.
made out of either carbon fiber or yeah, certain different like some
Kind of like
you
a
the original was with
racquetball
wood,
or a ping pong, a bigger ping
not
pong.
not the rubber, not without the rubber, but
Okay.
it's bigger than the ping pong, but it's in the same. It's a mixture between tennis, ping pong, and badminton. That's
Oh,
how we
okay.
describe it. And it's a
Okay.
mix of those sports, a smaller court. The big difference is you have this area called the non-volley zone that's in front of the net where you can't step into it and smash the ball out of the air. You got to let the ball bounce there before you come into it. So
Okay.
that's what changes the game up. So you can't just run up to the net and smash into people.
Oh,
But
okay.
it can be a very slow game or it can be a very high paced game.
I might get out there
You
and
get a
try it one
workout.
day.
Oh,
I
you're gonna get out when my next time in Atlanta because when next time I'm gonna hold the
know
clinic
because you
because
gonna
I'm
hold me to it, then make me get out
of course,
there.
and you're gonna see like oh. It's addicting. It's fun. It's not an expensive sport to get into, and the cities are catching on to it. Where they're putting courts everywhere, like you say.
Yeah,
I've
they're
had
all
contracts with
around
a couple of
Atlanta.
cities.
Yeah.
So I love it. I've been working with the VA, well, trying to get the VA and some of the Wounded Warrior area people out there in Atlanta because I've held clinics out there before. But summertime comes around and all the kids take over all the gyms and stuff, so it's hard to get clinics.
I think
So
they add pickleball to the Olympics or something.
not yet. They're working on it. You have to
Oh,
have a
okay.
certain number of countries around the world playing first before you can
Oh,
do that.
okay.
We're working on it though. It'll be coming.
Is it
Yep.
in
So,
the Invictus Games? Is pickleball in that?
no, they had not yet. I'm working on that's a project that I'm working on with a certain somebody too. I can't speak of his names, but the higher ups of that. Yeah,
Oh,
I've let him know that I better not see him on TV playing pickleball with nobody before because we've had private talks about that. But they've actually added ping pong this year because it's a big
oh,
German sport, so they're doing
okay.
that there. And then next year it's going to be in Canada, so it's going to be a more of a winter style sport event there.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's going to be
Are
interesting.
there winter Invictus games?
Well, this is going to be the first one.
Oh,
This
okay.
one coming up in Canada will be the first one. So they're adding some
You are not
snowboarding and
getting
stuff.
out there snowboarding, right?
Thank
Okay.
you. Not for that one. I feel like
I mean, I know
I've
you
had my
still
fun with
ride
that.
motorcycles, but
I mean, I'm working on that part too. I had a call about that the other day. The only reason you don't see me on a bike is just because I still have the muscle spasms. I don't want to be out there just spazzing like crazy. That wind is real sensitive. So
oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's actually
I'll find some
freezing
ways
here
though.
today. It's cold here in Atlanta, which is crazy to me.
It is crazy because thankfully today in Jackson, I mean, it just rained on my way back here, but during my clinic in St. Augustine, it was beautiful and hot the whole time. It had overcast, but it held up. We were worried about it.
I don't know what that's about. All
Yeah,
right, so
that's what keeps me from Atlanta. Y'all cold weather, man. It's got to
yeah,
get right.
and it's not. I mean, like it's normally not this cold. Like April, I don't
Not
know
this
what's going.
time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
it's
It'll be
nuts.
warm soon, though. You'll see a lot more of me soon. I
Okay.
got some restaurants and stuff I haven't visited in a while. I know things have changed out there.
All right. So speaking of restaurants, what is your cocktail order when you go to the bar?
Oh man. So I'm a whiskey guy. I prefer whiskey neat, but sometimes I'll go with an old fashioned just to see what they taste like. But if I'm not drinking a whiskey like neat, I'm doing shots. So
Oh,
I'm straight to it. If I'm a drink, I gotta drink. And I'm tequila or whiskey. One of my
oh, okay.
favorite whiskeys is his Uncle Nearest. It's one of the best.
Someone told
If
me
you
about that. Like it's like second to Pappy Van Winkle, I think. Like it's a really
yes, yeah. And
it's
so Uncle Nearest, he was the man that taught Jack Daniels how to make whiskey.
right, yeah.
And it's all black
Um
owned family. I want to go tour their distillery, but yeah, but it's
my
good.
I have
It's
a
so smooth and good.
my cousin lives in part time. He lives in Louisville, and he keeps trying to get me to come
Mm.
up there to go on that whiskey tour thing. Like you just go.
Oh, I gotta do that. I gotta do a Go with Gabe whiskey tour. Oh man,
Oh
that
yeah,
would be
you can
fun.
do that.
Uh huh. Good idea. Okay.
You'd have to get like a Uber driver because I
Well,
mean,
or just a Tesla where it can just drive us. I rented a Tesla this weekend and I fell in love. I'm like, man, yeah, but yeah, a designated driver that's necessary. Yeah, that
all
whiskey
right.
and food though.
So thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Oh, that's my pleasure. Our next one will be on the porch. Since I know this, you're
Oh,
doing this on the. I had a different, and I love that. Man, 'cause I got all these extra. I'm supposed to be doing stuff like this, but there's no time. I don't know how people find time to do this work. But I have all these cameras and microphones and all this stuff. It's just been sitting there, like good stuff. This Mevo, where it's three cameras that can record at the same time and get all
oh,
the
wow.
views. I have the professional, the microphones, or yeah, and it's just
Yeah.
sitting there because I don't have time to do everything. I'm send it to you so you could use it more so and get
You
something
need
out
to
of it.
like find somebody like an intern to just follow you around and do it for you.
That's the that's easier said than done. I'm paying. I got a paid assistant right now. That whew, yeah, but yeah, it's all good.
All right, Gabe, I appreciate it. And you have a
My
good
pleasure.
day.
You
And
too.
that's the Scott
Let
of
me
it
know when
all.
you put this out. Oh, I appreciate it.
I'm gonna put it out probably tonight.
Okay, the Scott of it
Everybody.
all.